It's been a while since I did a socialism video. Maybe about a couple of weeks, maybe. But a lot of these socialists that I've had some debates with, or I had some people in my Discord talking a whole bunch of crap about, same thing, same old, same old, same old. Capitalism bad, socialism good. Nazis were capitalists, even though Adolf Hitler was severely anti-capitalist because he thought it was this Jewish thing. Why would a person who fundamentally hates the Jews do something that apparently is a Jewish thing? Again, makes fundamentally no sense at all. But when you talking to a socialist, you gotta try to ease your way into it, because if you just try to go at it full throttle, they will come at you like, you're saying something wrong, or you're saying something bad, or they will try to twist your words around. Like the whole free market thing. The free market is about a voluntary actions between a group of people that at the end of the day they can shake hands, have a good deal, and then there will be nothing else after that, and they'll be going about their day. But for some reason, when you talk about the free market, you have socialists talk about, oh well, what's stopping this free market from buying some type of weapons of mass destruction? Some stupid like that. They want to go to like the extreme measures or add in some authoritarian measures to try to appease their own arguments when it comes to like going against the free market, because apparently the free market is. They believe the free market is bad, even though a lot of us libertarians over here, we say, hey, we bring forth more people from the free market, then there'll be more housing build, there'll be more jobs out here, there'll be more production, there'll probably be some more machinery being built for clean drinking water all over the city. But the problem is the city or the state in general does not want things like that, because they don't want to be looked at as the ones that are not doing their job well, even though they are pretty much doing that for themselves. So this whole ordeal that the free market's bad, capitalism bad, or this whole the Nazis were bad. I mean, because they were capitalists and they had privatization, which is completely not true. Let's go ahead and listen to this real quick. Then I'm gonna go ahead and show y'all an article about how some guys are fundamentally disingenuous about what the Nazis actually was. Let's go ahead and listen to this, and I don't know if I'm gonna get a copyright strike about this, so I'm just gonna you guys are just gonna be seeing my face here and while you're listening. Yeah. Let's go ahead. Just listen to this.
In a nutshell, my argument is that National Socialism was real National Socialism, and that it was a left-wing socialist ideology which attempted to implement socialism during its brief 12 years in power. Hitler hated both what he called Jewish capitalism and Jewish Bolshevism or Marxism. He saw them both as part of a Jewish plot to take over the world. His anti-Semitism is his anti-capitalism, and his anti-Semitism is his anti-Marxism, and his pro-German racism is his socialism. He thought that the Jews were causing what many perceived to be the crisis of capitalism, in order to cause class conflict which would then be exploited by the Jews, who would usher in a Marxist revolution. At that point, they would dominate the world and, in Hitler's mind, be the downfall of civilization. And it's vital that you understand what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that I believe in what Hitler is saying from a personal, political, economic, or social perspective.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we all got that right. And from what I've seen from this,
apologies for that,
is that this was from Adolf Hitler's manifesto, Mein Kampf, which a lot of people glossed over, or a lot of people probably did not even think about looking into, because anything that the funny mustache man did, they would say like, oh, you would believe anything that the Nazis were saying, just stuff like that. when it comes out of they own handwriting, or when it comes out of they own mouth, like this book, from what he pointed out, came from Hitler's Mein Kampf, page 198, page 268, 269, page 324, page 355. 555 and then 556. So all this came out of Hitler's own handwriting or his own book himself. And a lot of people who really hate the fact that all these things that we are saying here actually came out of some things that he wrote down in his manifesto. But you had some people just twist it around, saying like, oh, just because he said this because it's true. I mean, the Nazis called themselves socialists, but that doesn't mean they are socialism, even though it's literally in the name socialism. But things like that, they don't want to be hearing that. But there's a whole, oh well, capitalism is so bad because you got these capitalistic people who are so greedy, or they are so money hungry, is that they want people to just be poor, and they just want to be they want people to just be dependent on them. They want people to just be struggling, be out here homeless, even though that talking point would not benefit rich people at all. See, or it could benefit the high middle class. Yeah, it won't. Yeah, it would. I'm sorry, it definitely won't benefit the high middle class who probably own their own business, and then most definitely would not benefit the high class who make over seven figures. Because if their main point is to make everybody poor, and they can't, and the people who are in the middle class, low class can't pay for these type of things anymore, then guess what? The so-called authoritarian rich people, they will be out of luck right there, because they done drain all their money from the middle low class people. They ain't gonna be making no more money if these people are severely drained. How they gonna keep on getting all that money? How they gonna keep on getting all that greed if their customers are out of money? It literally makes no sense. Like they will literally do everything in a critical thinking to make sure that all that money will still be coming in. But then you had some people say, well, these capitalistic or these corporations would just increase funding in order to hurt the middle low class people. And a lot of people don't know about this little thing called cost disease socialism, which I just got into from an ally of mine on the libertarian side, the philosophical zombie hunter. I literally just got into it. I didn't know what this thing was until I actually read into it. So we're gonna go over this this definition of cost disease socialism, and about how it fundamentally affects prices that are apparently supposed to be benefiting the middle low class, but actually increases it. So let's go ahead and read this from the philosophical zombie hunter, and I'm gonna leave his link in the description box below. Cost disease socialism. The short definition. Cost disease socialism is when government policy restricts supply and subsidies. Demand for human capital intensive industries, causing prices to rise drastically over time. The longer definition. Cost disease socialism happens in a few parts. It restricts supply by subsidizing suppliers and heavily regulating them, choosing who the winners are, pressuring losers to leave the industry, and setting high costs for new entrants. For example, certificate of need, restricting new hospitals or doctors setting up an office in the town or city while subsidizing existing hospitals in the same town or city. Typically, the types of industries will be human capital intensive, where wages may rise due to the overall economy being more productive and competition for labor, but not that those industries themselves are more productive. The government will increase demand by diffusing costs to the general population. For example, offering government-backed cheap student loans. This takes these industries away from competitive pressures from participating in the market and removes the pressure of lowering costs. While the needs to compete, innovation, and increased productivity is less likely to happen, equally scaling up or providing a good quality service would not be a priority. For example, the DMV. At some point, costs rise more and more, and the government starts paying them through deficient spending. The increases in costs tend to become a substantial cost to the middle class and the poor, who will then ask the government to intervene in the markets to help them. Government growth spiral. For example, in the 1960s, most people would pay out of pocket for healthcare costs, but those costs are so high currently that they require insurance to cover them, and people are asking the government to step in and absorb the costs. Both the left and the right keep the spiral going. It is politically convenient for them to blame the higher prices on populist reasons, mainly big corporations. For the left, it is the rich capitalists who don't pay their fair share. I say that in quotations. Their fair share and make it harder for the government to pay for the services. For the right, it is immigrants who use these services and increases their costs. Ironically, higher prices in these sectors also prevent governments from nationalizing them. It would simply be too expensive and politically unfeasible to do so. For example, in early 2022, California expressed a desire to implement single-payer healthcare in the state. However, despite having a super Democrat majority and $55 billion tax surplus, they could not implement this desire. Okay, so here's the graph about how much how much the cost was. This is the cost of inflation in labor-intensive services. So the consumer price from 1998. This is starting from 1998 all the way from 2001. So right here in 1998, it was the consumer price was at 100. But as we go up year after year, and the blue and the orange mark and the gray mark is the hospital and college tuition fees and other type of those fees as well. So the blue, orange, and gray mark. Hospital and related services cost tuition and fees, tuition, and the gray mark is tuition and other school fees and childcare. So as the years go by and the cost disease socialism policy was enacted, year after year, it continuously went up, and it has been. And while tourism has been going down, the hospital and college tuition fees have gone up drastically. So again, shout out to the philosophical zombie hunter right there, and hopefully me and you can do another video some later down the road. So equally, price rises in these areas translate into higher government spending and 6 decades of spending growth. The net interest from 1962 was at, I want to say, $600 to $700. And as this one sets to 2016, the net interest went over $3,500. That's crazy. Where the money goes? Federal spending as a percentage of GDP, national defense, the major entitlements, and all other. So the national defense went down. The major entitlements went up like skyrocket over 20%. So we go, and there's a lot more graphs here, and there's plenty of reference here to back this up. So this whole argument here that it's so easy to blame capitalism for why things are expensive, but then they won't. But they will say it's the big corporations or the corporations who are paying the state and making all these costs go up. But that fundamentally hurts those businesses in the long run, because they will be losing consumer base, and they'll probably go to some other place that's cheaper, probably a much more private or a small organization or a business. it fundamentally hurts them in the long run. But they would still say it's the corporation's fault, just like how they say when rent goes up, it's the landlord's fault, but it's actually terrible economic state policies, or terrible economic federal government policies that fundamentally hurts us. But then they still want to blame because it's a lot more easier to blame the big organizations, or it's a lot more easier to blame capitalism, and it's not the federal government's fault. It's not the state's fault, because those people who are economically illiterate over there in Washington D.C. It's a lot more easier to say it's not their fault, and then it's a lot more better, or it's a lot more popular to say it's capitalism's fault. Literally makes no sense whatsoever. It doesn't. Their arguments are so invalid, and it's very easy to disprove, depending on the right libertarian philosopher or a capitalist philosopher. Some people who are socialists, who believe in socialism, will be completely real disingenuous when it comes to these certain talking points. It's always people who have money. It's always their fault, and not it's never the fault of the state that makes these policies. But that's just wanted to get this little video off real quick. But let me know what y'all think about it in the comments below. If you guys, like I'm saying, subscribe, share the video, hit the notification bell. I will see y'all next one. Peace.